about balls deep. I'm talking about balls deep. I'm talking about balls deep in love. I'm talking about balls deep. I'm talking about balls deep. I'm talking about balls deep in love.
And now for our feature presentation.
Balls Deep with Devin and Jovan.
Welcome to Balls Deep's Week 15 NFL Pick'em. I would say, welcome to Balls Deep with Devin and Jovan, but today is, Balls Deep with Devin, no Jovan. In his place is, our good friend Isaiah. We mentioned him a few times on the show, but here you guys are. You guys are able to, put a face to the name. So for today is Balls Deep with Devin and Isaiah. For the Week 15 pick'em. But don't worry, guys. Jovan did submit his picks, so he's still gonna get penalized if he loses this upcoming weekend. But Isaiah's here to put his picks in and get his say on the matchups that we chose to speak about this week. So to start off, as you guys already know, I got to give you the update of what happened last week. So, unfortunately, we couldn't come out with a pick'em video due to technical difficulties last week. But if you follow us on Instagram, you've seen that we put out our picks. And Jovan and I both finished 3-2 for Week 14, which brings my record on the overall season to 42-28. Jovan's is now 37-33. So, yeah, he got to get better. Isaiah's face said it all.
Shake.
Yeah, said it all. So now that brings us to Week 15. So we got 5 new matchups, or 3 new key matchups, plus our lock and our upset pick of the week. First matchup of the week, Chicago, Minnesota. So before we get started, Minnesota, I don't know. They gave up the game last week. They fumbled the bag. While the Bears seem to be resurrected. I don't know what it is, but it might be something about that Mitchell Trubisky. You know what I'm saying? So Jovan's pick for this game, he picked the Minnesota Vikings to win this one. So Isaiah, who do you have this week?
This week I actually also have the Vikings because I don't know, the Bears, as good as they did last week, I still don't believe it. Even though I feel like if they can get the ball to Allen Robinson, then they'll be pretty fine because I think Khalil Mack has the other side of the ball, cool, calm, and collected. But Dalvin Cook's a monster, man. And he just all-season workhorse. And I think they're the better, worse team, if that's the best way to put it.
Better, worse team. All right. So for me, as you know, just because before we started recording, I was teetering back and forth. I didn't know who to go with for this game. Like initially, when I seen the matchup, I'm like, "Oh, Minnesota got this in the bag." But then, I started thinking, and I'm like, maybe they. I feel like this is that game. I don't even know what to call it, but it's like the game. It's like a setup. Like you pick them. It's a trap game. You pick them, and they go and fumble the bag again. I mean, they played a good team finally in against the Buccaneers, and they lost. The prior 2 games, they barely beat the Jaguars, they barely beat the Panthers, and they lost to the Cowboys. And then they played the Bears before with Nick Foles and won 19-13. So to me, this Chicago Bears team looks rejuvenated since Mr. Trubisky came back. Granted, they played the Lions and they played the Texans, but they did score over 30 points in both of those games. We already know the Bears defense was their strong suit. That was what was carrying them for majority of the season leading up to this point. It was always the offense that was lacking. But the offense is getting going. Montgomery looks like a totally different running back. I think he's looking like the running back that we expected him to be last year and
Yeah.
expected him to be this year coming in, but Nagy's play calling just wasn't panning out. But he's looking really good. He's surprising me. And the Vikings' run defense isn't spectacular. So I'm expecting that to continue, and I'm expecting Mitchell Trubisky to feed off of that. So I'm rocking with the Bears. And there's a fun fact. So, fun fact is, well, first off, I don't trust Dan Bailey. Dan Bailey stinks. He's not what he used to be. As you can see last week, he was missing kicks all over. But fun fact, if the Bears win this week, they'll win their third straight game in Minnesota. For the first time since 1983 to 1985, Chicago's coach, Matt Nagy, has had the Vikings number at the U.S. Bank Arena, or stadium, I should say, where his team has won each of the past 2 seasons, including a dominant victory in 2018 regular season finale that kept Minnesota out of the playoffs. Nagy's 4-1 lifetime versus the Vikings, the lone loss occurring when these teams met at Soldier Field. So he's never lost on the road against the Vikings, and damn it, I'm rolling with it. Vikings, I'm not getting trapped. No way, no how. I'm going with the Bears. I know this is a risky pick, and this is why it's not my upset pick. So I'm rolling with it. So, if you have anything else to say about that, go right ahead.
I don't know. You saying that they're undefeated at in Vikings territory makes me feel better about my pick. So,
Well, if you guys know, Isaiah's a Falcons fan, so anything's possible with this man. His thinking is, out of the box. He likes to think out of the box. He likes the underdog. So that makes sense of him saying he likes this pick even more because he feels like he's beating the statistics. And this guy is he's Isaiah.
Balancing the universe.
Yeah, sure. Anyways. So our next matchup is another divisional matchup. But this one, lies within the AFC East. And that's with the New England Patriots going up against the Miami Dolphins. New England Patriots, well, I should say the Miami Dolphins seem to be playing well. They almost pulled off the upset against the Chiefs. If it wasn't for Patrick Mahomes pulling out some magic. But they've been playing well. That defense is looking spectacular all season. It's been that offense that's been shaky. But Tua seems to be under helm this week. It's not going to be Fitzmagic. Lucky for Isaiah, fantasy purposes. He got a Fitzmagic curse, but luckily Fitzmagic's not an option this week.
I might have to take him up.
So Miami, the past couple of games, they lost to the Chiefs, they beat the Bengals, they beat the Jets, and they lost to the Broncos. Whereas the Patriots, they lost to the Rams 24-3, which was terrible. They looked like ass. But the week before, they dominated the Chargers 45-0, and they beat the Cardinals 20-17. And prior to that, they lost to the Texans 27-20. So for this matchup, Jovan chose to go with the Patriots. Who do you have, Isaiah, in this divisional matchup?
In this matchup, I actually have the Dolphins because I feel like New England's been streaky all season, and they haven't really, given me anything to believe in besides the fact that they're not the team they used to be. And it actually kind of makes their division more interesting to watch. Not them in particular, but like the Bills, the Dolphins, and I'm not going to say the Jets, but they actually have 2 good teams in the division now, which is surprising. And Tua's been looking good to me. I think as long as he comes in, stays collected, and gets, his reads, Miami should have no problem. They usually take a game from Miami most seasons. Well, maybe not most seasons, but they lost their first matchup, so I think they got this one.
Yeah, usually, when Tom Brady was under the helm, he usually struggles in Miami. And usually they always split, and they always lose the matchup in Miami, which this matchup is in Miami. So I thought of the same thing. I like the Dolphins as a team, as a collective. I like Tua. and I hope for the best for the man. But I'm going with New England on this one. If you heard what I said about the last four matchups, they lost to the Texans, they beat the Cardinals, they beat the Chargers, and they lost to the Rams. So hey, right now their playoff hopes is evaporating in thin air very soon. And if they lose this upcoming weekend, they're out of contention for a playoff spot in this year, which will snap a 11-year streak, I believe it is, which is them making the playoffs. But the three next matchups are divisional games. They're gonna have to win out, and I think they will. But the one game that I'm struggling with picking them is the Bills game, not the Dolphins game. I think if anything, they have a better chance against the Dolphins than they do the Bills. So I'm going with the Patriots in this one. I think Cam Newton is going to come out and fight for his coach and fight for his team and keep their playoff hopes alive. They have something to play for, and I think the Dolphins do too. I mean they're on that the 6th, 7th seed right now, so they want to stay in the playoff picture. But I think the Patriots got a little bit more hunger in them at the moment. They're the more experienced team, even though there's a lot of people, that opted out for the season. So I'm rolling with the Patriots. And also, the reason why I'm picking the Patriots is Bill Belichick is going against one of his disciples in Brian Flores. I don't know his record against his former assistants, but you always got to pick the master. Because I know that as a Georgia fan, that Kirby Smart's record against Nick Saban ain't that good. So I'm gonna roll with the Mr. Miyagi in the situation. Wax on, wax off. So we gonna wax our ass back to the next matchup, and that is a big matchup. This probably the game of the week. It's the Kansas City Chiefs versus the New Orleans Saints. In this matchup, Jovan chose the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City Chiefs, only lost once this season, but they almost lost another game last week. The Dolphins, we just talked about it, almost upset them in a close one. They got to Patrick Mahomes, and the Saints, you know them well. Drew Brees, he's returning, but unfortunately, Michael Thomas won't be playing. So it's like they gain a piece and they lose a piece at the same time. So Jovan got the Chiefs. Who you got?
This week I got the Chiefs. I do think New Orleans does an amazing job, if not one of the best jobs of switching out QBs when they need to, and having them still run efficiently and look perfectly poised and whatnot. But I don't think Drew Brees is going to carry on the streak that they have. I think, with the Chiefs and Mahomes, Kelsey, and Hill, the way they're working, they feel like a machine. And I feel like they're one of the few teams that when they lose, they take it seriously. And they're we don't want to be put in this position again. So, especially with that close scare last week, I think they're going to come in ready to go, ready to finish the job, not let Drew Brees get started or get anything going.
Yeah, but what do you mean keep what they got going? They lost to the Eagles last week.
Oh, I didn't even.
that loss hurt. You know why? Because they lost to Jalen Hurts. All right, which is according to them is he was a backup. Now he's the starter, and he's a rookie at that. And they lost him in his first start in the season. So if anything, they got something to prove, and that's exactly why. I'm picking the Saints. They got something to prove. And I'm picking them mainly for their defense, not their offense. So it came as a surprise to me that Drew Brees is coming back, but it makes me feel more secure about my pick. But then Michael Thomas is going away. I'm like, damn it, it hurts. But I'm going with the Saints. They're actually one of the best run defenses in the league. So I think that aspect of the game will be gone. So I'm not worried about Le'Veon Bell. I'm not worried about Clyde Edwards-Helaire. The only man I'm worried about is the man under center. That's Patrick Mahomes. And the reason why is I think he's going to do damage with his legs. And that's what I'm worried about because that's what opens up his arm, which then, leads to victories. And we already know, I think Kelsey is leading the league in receiving yards currently, which just explains that that man is a beast and he's a problem and he's different. So my thing is, you got to stop him. Tyreek Hill is Tyreek Hill. He's going to blow past you no matter what. But they have Marshawn Lattimore, and I'm not saying he's going to stop him. But I think if anyone's going to slow him down, he's probably one of the best people to do so. And you know so very well. He has good matchups against Julio and Calvin Ridley. So
I can't lie, he does.
I'm not saying he shuts them down, but he has the ability to slow you down. And I mean, I'm just going with that. I think the only person that's really going to do damage is Travis Kelce, and that's who I'm worried about. That's mainly because of Patrick Mahomes and the magic that he just comes up with. So I'm going with the Saints. But to be honest, this was a tough pick for me. So we'll skip it. We'll go to our locks now, and to start off, Jovan chose the Tennessee Titans to defeat. I think they're playing the Jaguars. No, they're not playing the Jaguars. They're playing the Lions. He chose the Tennessee Titans to beat the Lions, continue their streak, because Derrick Henry is playing ridiculously, or
lights out.
Lights out. There you go. Beast mode. He's in beast mode status currently, running through people. And the Lions, they don't have a good run defense. So we all expect that to continue. So he's rolling with the Titans with his lock pick. Who do you have for your lock?
This week I got the Steelers, going with back-to-back losses. I don't think that looks good. Even though you have, your 11 wins, it's I don't know what to think from them, because I feel like if they lose again, like in the NFL, like it's here and it's gone just like that. So I feel like they need to get back on track. They need to start getting their wins, and I think against Cincinnati is the perfect place to do it.
So for me, I always felt they weren't overrated, but they played to their opponent. They played to the level of their opponent, which resulted to why all their games were pretty much close. There really wasn't a blowout outside of here and there. They played to their opponent, but the last two games they were playing on short rest. But they also dealt with injury on the defensive end. So they've lost Bud Dupree. They've lost Devin Bush. Joe Hayden, I know, didn't play last week. I don't know if he's playing this week. So defensively, they're hurting. And don't get me wrong, I think they're still one of the best teams in the AFC, but I think their championship window this season is closing slowly but surely, because they relied a lot on their defense. And I think their offense has to step up some more, specifically the run game, because we know the kind of weapons that they have at receiver, especially with Big Ben. So I'm expecting them to bounce back with a win, especially because they beat the Bengals earlier in the season 36-10. So, and that was with Joe Burrow. Yeah. Joe Burrow ain't there. So
might be a hard day for Cincinnati fans, but there's been a lot of hard days for them.
Let's not speak about those days, okay?
It's okay. I'm a Falcons fan.
You don't want you to your PTSD to kick in. But hey, so for my lock pick, I'm rolling. So typically, we don't got games on Saturdays, but this week we got games on Saturdays, and this video is gonna drop before those games. So I'm rolling with one of those Saturday games, specifically the Buffalo Bills, and I talked about them earlier. How I don't really expect the Patriots. Well, that's the one game that I would say they're not going to win out of all the 3 divisional games. The Buffalo Bills are hot right now. If anything, they probably look like the best chance of beating the Chiefs in the AFC. And I'm expecting that to continue against the Broncos. The Broncos, I mean, they can upset you, so this could be a trap game for me. But I'm gonna roll with the high hand. Josh Allen is in the MVP running. I would say top 5, but he's up there. Stephon Diggs, I don't expect anyone on the opposite side to stop that man. And if anything, I expect the run game to, get the ball rolling because that's what's hurting them offensively. They can't really find that balance. And I think that balance is going to kick in this week. Stephon Diggs is going to have himself one hell of a game. And that's going to be thanks to, Josh Allen. Cole Beasley, watch out for him too, yo. He can rap. He'll spit some bars, but he's going to be running all over you come Sunday. But in this chance, come Saturday. So I'm rolling with the Bills. And I feel confident. So we're gonna switch over to our upset picks of the week. It's the last before last pick for the NFL Pick'em, and Jovan seems to be a homer for this upset pick. He chose the Giants against the Browns. As a Giants fan, I don't know what that man is doing.
I think it's a good pick.
I thought it was a good pick too. Prior to the news that James Bradbury got COVID.
Forgot about that.
Because he's been our best defensive player. He's been locked down. Bradbury Island. You know what I'm saying?
He's looking like a problem out there.
He has, and now he's not going to be there. Darnay Holmes is out, who's our slot corner. We didn't have him last week, and we got fried. So now we don't got him, and we don't got Bradbury. So which means Logan Ryan's going to play probably more corner. McKinney's going to play more minutes, and he's going to be at the slot. So it probably won't be terrible or as bad as I'm thinking, but Brown's offense is hot, and it's going to take a lot of, confusing Baker Mayfield to win this game. I'm not so worried about the run game, even though that's their strong suit. I think our run defense is stout, and I think we'll be fine with that aspect. It's the passing game that got me worried with these corner situations because Patrick Graham has done a great job this season in terms of confusing the opposing quarterbacks with, disguising the coverage and things like that. But when you have less pieces to move around because you're restricted, I think our second corner at that is going to get exposed. And that's what I'm worried about, honestly. Offensively, Colt McCoy is playing. I know Daniel Jones is questionable, but he's not going to play. They're saying he's dealing with a second leg injury or whatever. So Colt McCoy is going to play. He played well against the Seahawks, so I'm not really, worried in that aspect as long as he can control the turnovers. And the Browns' defense sucks outside of their pass rush. I'm not worried about that. So it's strength against strength right now. So it could go either way. But I wouldn't be as confident in that pick as Jovan seems to be. So he's with the Giants. You going with the Falcons with your upset pick?
I don't know. Never. With my upset pick, I'm going with Washington because they're facing the Seahawks. And although I don't think Russell Wilson has been looking like, all reliable as he always does. But
he gets me tight, yo. I picked him for MVP, and he played MVP level until he started talking about let Russ cook. Now he's he's letting Russ get cooked because these other teams got him looking like a turnover machine.
I think Washington. I think I think Chase Young has been doing good. He's been fitting great. I think with Dwayne Haskins coming in, I think what happened, last season and the beginning of this season, I think it, kind of put a damper on things over there. But I think he's coming in with some good energy, and he'll be able to feed off that against this Seahawks team that's kind of like sputtering. But I think all in all, this is a great matchup for a team that's trying to fight for the top of their division. So I think Washington. come away with it.
So I think you're kind of underestimating how good Chase Young has looked. Because it's not just Chase Young that has looked good. That whole defensive front has looked really good. I mean, there are a bunch of first rounders, but they have looked really good. Like some are even saying they're the best in the league. I'm not saying that, but analysts on TV had I'm not gonna name names, but I know one person in particular on Good Morning Football said they're playing like the best, defensive line in the league, and they're playing as one of the best. But I wouldn't go as far as saying they're playing the best. Their defense has really stepped up though, and with Russ, turn over the ball some more, I can see something happen. I was looking at that game, and I was like, this could be the opportunity to upset alert. Dwayne Haskins, I'm a fan of his. Jovan, being an Ohio State fan, he's a fan of his. He hasn't really had the best opportunities, I should say, in the NFL, and I'm hoping he has a good game. Even though I'm a Giants fan, I hope they lose. I just hope that he redeems himself or revives himself, because he went from being the first stringer to start the season to going to third string, now to second string, and then now he's a starter again. So this is gonna be interesting. I just hope he looks good, so he can find. Basically, he's trying out for
Atlanta.
He's trying out for a different team next season.
Mm-hmm.
Currently with this performance, so hopefully he does well, so he can go somewhere where he has a better opportunity. If you want him in Atlanta, go ahead. I think with the weapons you guys got, he'd probably be better off. So
we need something to shake the
only thing is, the Seahawks defense has suspect as it looked. Since Jamal Adams has came back, they've looked a lot better. And I think he broke a record for most sacks by a DB in one season, and he's missed games. So I don't know about that pick, buddy. I don't know about that pick.
I feel it. I feel it in my heart and my soul.
So
he'll come through with something.
For me, I don't know who I'm going with for an upset. I was contemplating it the whole time before I started, and even the team I have written down, I don't even think I'm going with them. So I was looking at the Eagles Cardinals game. I'm like, the Cardinals, they look good, but then I'm like, but the Eagles, they got a spark now. So is that upset? I'm like, nah, DeAndre Hopkins is about to tear that ass up come Darius Smith. So I'm like, I'm staying away from that game. I looked at the Washington game, and I'm like, Seahawks defense, it looked good. And I'm like, nah, fuck that. And then I started looking at it, and I'm like, the Texans against the Colts. And I was like, I picked the Texans to beat the Colts last time. They should have won. They fumbled the bag at the goal line. Deshaun Watson, crying on the sideline. I don't blame him. But then they lost Justin Reed for the season. And I'm like, fuck that. T-Bar about to beat that ass up. And then I picked the Chargers to win Thursday Night Football. Obviously, I can't pick them here. But they had me sweating. So I'm like, everybody's put up on upset alert this week. But the one game I'm going with, we already talked about one of them. I was leaning towards the Patriots. But then you mentioned the stat about about them losing to Miami, and it reminded me. I'm like, I can't go with that. Fuck that. I'm not as confident with that. So I'm going with the Bears. The Bears. I think I'm more confident in that stat I told you about him being playing well in I think it's U.S. Bank Stadium, and I gotta put my faith in Mitch Trubisky. I don't know what I'm doing with myself. I don't know, but I gotta bring my ass, down to sweet old Alabama. It's Montgomery. I gotta roll with you, son, and I don't want to roll with you. You know why? Because I'm playing Jovan in fantasy in our semifinals, and this man got David Montgomery. So I was cheering for the Chargers on Thursday Night Football. Jovan got Justin Herbert, and now he got David Montgomery, and I'm doubling down on the Bears. your boy over here stressed. I'm actually rooting for Jovan to lead me. I don't fucks with this, but I gotta roll with it. I gotta keep my record strong. I still got this, even though I'm cheering for them. I still got this, I got this.
Winner's mentality.
Because you know why? I chose the Bears. You know who's on the Bears that I got? Allen fucking Robinson. Mitch Trubisky about to ball out. Fuck David Montgomery. So in Mitchell Trubisky, we trust. That's my pick. Doubling down on the Bears.
That's the shaky statement. In Mitchell Trubisky, we trust.
Listen, I'm not as confident in that statement either, you know. But I gotta trust someone other than Montgomery at this point, because I'm going against Montgomery. I have Allen Robinson, but Allen Robinson can't throw himself the ball. So I gotta trust Mitchell Trubisky. He's thrown over 200 yards the past 2 games. Hopefully that continues. Hopefully, you know, the Bears score over 30 points, and all of it's to Allen Robinson and not David Montgomery. So that's our picks for the week. I don't have anything else to say, but the floor is yours, Isaiah. Do you have anything you would like to promote?
Yeah. Just drink water, wear your mask, and social distance so we can get out of this quarantine and do stuff again.
You don't want to promote your Twitch?
Oh no, I'm good. I'm chilling.
Yo, go follow this man on Twitch, Silver City ID. Help this man get to 50 followers so he can become a Twitch affiliate and do his thing. Don't mind him. He's trying to act humble. But we thank you for joining us, in place of Jovan. Hopefully we can see you again for other news or other sports news outside of football and in the pick'em. But we appreciate you for coming. We appreciate you guys for tuning in as always. Make sure to go like, follow, subscribe. We just dropped an NBA special. Yes, it's 2 hours long, but it was a great conversation. So tune into that. And make sure to go check out our guys at the Expansion Pack Podcast. Denzel was on that episode from the Expansion Pack Podcast. And if you're into gaming, that's the podcast for you. They funny as hell. They know their shit. Go check them out. And until next time, peace.
You're talking about balls deep. I'm talking about balls deep. We're talking about balls deep in love. I'm talking about balls deep. My boy's talking about balls deep. We're talking about balls deep in love.
Tommy's got the vibes, 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 got the vibes.
The boy patience is getting thinner than big razors. Since 9-6, been accustomed to hooligan behavior. Can call your Lord and Savior, he ain't even trying to save you. And call his phone in some years, asking for big favors. The reason why a lot of niggas die, whether it be hunger or you trying to test me in the guise. Never been a fan of school, you can miss me with the problems, but I still graduated, so I obviously solve them 2-piece and a biscuit. I risk it if I got her. Principles what life's about, I knock you out about $1. Might as well refer to me as MVP of all the rhymers. Talking body at the body, John Gracie, Jeffrey Dahmer. I'm a fucking amazing, a monster to say the least, too profitable. So I feel responsible to achieve everything that I once believed ×3, cause I overdo it. My music is more than music, it's how I'm surviving through it, nigga. Dime. Never been a fool, bitch, lately been on my time. Miss me with the bullshit, it's a cold world. Be careful who you cool with, claiming them your slimes till they slime you, typical shit.